Good morning and welcome to the Q&A session 23 from the playlist of friction. The topic is the frictional force versus the equilibrium state, and this topic has been generated by me based on the question which was asked in the JEE main exam in the year 2015. So this is the question which was asked in the JEE main exam in the year 2015. The language of this question is slightly different from the original question, but the question is the same. So here there are two blocks A and B which are held stationary by a force F as shown in this figure. The weight of this block A is 20 newtons. The weight of the block B is 100 newtons. The coefficient of friction between the blocks is 0.1. That is, the coefficient of friction at this interface is 0.1. And the coefficient of friction between the block B and the wall is 0.15. So here the coefficient of friction is equal to 0.1, and here the coefficient of friction is equal to 0.15. So the frictional force applied by the wall, this is the rigid wall, on the block B, on this block B is, so there are four options, so we have to find the correct option. Now this question can be solved in one single line. Since these two blocks are held stationary by this external force, so this is possible only when the weight of this block A is balanced by the frictional force. Now here the weight of this block A is acting in the downward direction. So this block has a tendency to move downward. So the force of friction at the interface of A and B here, that is at the interface of A and B and on the block A, will be directed upward, and this is in the case of equilibrium state. Now the same force of friction will be acting in the downward direction for the block B, because the same force of friction will be acting in the downward direction for the block B because this block has a tendency to move downward. So the relative motion of this block B with respect to A will be in the upward direction. So the force of friction will be acting in the downward direction. So now let's move on to the block B and this wall. Now here this wall is stationary. So this with respect to this wall, this block B has a tendency to move downward because of its own weight. So the force of friction at the interface of this wall and the block B will be in the upward direction. That is, the force of friction on the block B due to this wall will be acting in the upward direction because this block B has a tendency to move downward with respect to this stationary wall. So now here we are, so in the case of this equilibrium state, the weight of this block A is 20 Newton, which is acting vertically downward. The weight of this block B is 100 Newtons, and this is also acting vertically downward. So we can, in the case of equilibrium, that is in the equilibrium state, 20, that is 20 plus F1 plus 100 should be equal to F1 plus F2. So this is one equation which we have got, and from here this F1 and F1 will get cancelled out. So F2 is equal to 120 newtons. So the correct option here is A. So the question was very simple. Only the most important thing in this question was that we have to consider the relative motion between the block A and B, and the relative motion between the block B and the wall. So in the next session, we will be discussing a different type of a question from the same topic of friction. So till then, have a nice day. Bye.